Story 1. 26 May 2013, the JASCON 4 tugboat was carrying a crew of 12 in stormy conditions in the Atlantic Ocean. The crew were tasked with stabilizing an oil tanker at a chevron platform. It was something the crew were experienced with, and all the correct procedures had been followed. Surely nothing could go wrong. Well, this is nightmare truth. It's inevitable something will go wrong. So very, very wrong. What happened next will blow your mind. And it's all true. The sea had become unpredictably heavy and ferocious. Without warning, the sea was angry. It wanted blood. The waves crashed down on the tugboat with utter disregard. The ship was plunged into darkness and thrown into the air. The boat sank to the bottom of the ocean. The crew members were trapped inside the boat in the darkness, locked inside their rooms, their lives soon to end through drowning. 3 days later, the employers of the unfortunate sunken JASCON 4 ship sent divers down to retrieve the bodies, fitted with cameras and radio equipment, relaying guidance and video footage to the above-sea crew. Although the conditions were worsening, the divers dived deep, hoping for a quick recovery of the bodies. It was dark, visibility was low. They found the ship upside down on the ocean floor. They swam inside with no idea of what may be lurking in the darkness. The diving team sadly found 3 bodies, their lifeless faces staring back at them. One of the divers was gliding past the upside-down rooms when, as the video footage shows, a hand reaches out for the diver. This cannot be. This body has been at the bottom of the ocean for 3 days, but the hand clearly tries to grab hold of the diver. The diver's heart leapt 1,000 beats. In all his experience as a professional diver, he'd never experienced anything as frightening before. The diving crew quickly found JASCON 4 crew member Harrison O'Keefe was somehow still alive. It was a miracle. On the day the boat had capsized, he was in the bathroom. As it sank, it began to fill with seawater. He thought he was going to die. He swam to the engineer's office, disorientated. He found a small pocket of air in which he could just about get his head into. Somehow the pocket of air remained until his eventual rescue. Harrison O'Keefe had survived by drinking cans of Coke, floating around, and having to drink some of the salty seawater. He was undernourished and his lips were cracking due to the salty seawater. Had he remained in the ocean just a few hours more, he would have died alone in the darkness with just the sounds of the ocean for company. He was brought to the surface in a decompression chamber, and he saw the stars in the night sky as he surfaced. He has since gone on record to state he thought he was a goner, and he had to listen to the sounds of his crewmates being eaten by fish. He is now fully recovered. To this day, he still wakes up screaming in the night after having nightmares about still being under the sea in the dark, alone. Story 2. September 1997. James Morrow was on vacation with his friends in Florida. They decided to visit Juniper Run, a 7-mile winding river that was popular with canoers and kayakers. It was a glorious hot sunny day. Hell, it's always hot in Florida. The river is home to some wonderful creatures like otters and eels, but for James Morrow, he was going to come across wildlife that was straight out of a horror movie. He jumped into the river, kitted up with a snorkel. He was loving it. The water felt so fresh. What the hell was that? He thought. He felt something large and looming set off a rippling sensation in the water. He felt something move against his legs. Quicker than the blink of a terrified eye, an alligator around 10 feet long rose up and bit down on his head and pulled him under. It thrashed him about like he was nothing more than a rag doll. It would sometimes let go only to bite into him again. Not letting go with its deadly razor teeth, James Morrow looked into the eyes of the dark, terrifying monster and thought, "I'm going to die." After a minute that felt like an eternity, the alligator released James Morrow's bloodied body and swam away. Maybe James Morrow wasn't tasty enough. Who knows? His friends quickly got him out of the water and rang emergency services. He had deep lacerations across his body. The alligator had punctured his lung. He also had deep bite marks across his face. If he wasn't wearing his snorkel mask, which took the brunt of the head bites, then it's more than likely it would have bit his head off. James Morrow was unlucky, and in a strange way very lucky that day, as many people do not get to look into the jaws of death and survive. But survive he did. Story 3. For a long time there have been stories of giant creatures that are humanoid-like in physical stature seen across the Japanese seas. They have humanistic bald heads and permanent grins. Twisted and evil, some have been seen that appear to have tentacles. They have brought down ships and pulled sailors and fishermen to their horrifying deaths, dragging them through the dark ocean. They are known as Hamibosu. Legend has it a few centuries ago a ship carrying several monks across the ocean on mission from God were unfortunate to face a storm like no other. The sea was calm when suddenly it became a ferocious, unexpected force, smashing their ship and drowning them as they screamed for their lives. These monks are believed to be the vengeful spirits that have now become Hamibosu, wading through the sea where it is calm only to create an almighty storm. They grab ships and people and take them to the bottom of the ocean. It has been known that people have made sacrifices to appease the Hamibosu. One tale goes that between 1603 and 1867 a fisherman named Senchai was traveling across the ocean with his soon-to-be unfortunate wife on board. Suddenly, a storm raged as the dreaded Hamibosu rose from beneath the sea. It wanted to destroy the ship. Senchai and his wife were terrified. Sadly, they knew that if they made a sacrifice, then they may be spared an horrific death by Hamibosu. Senchai's wife threw herself into the sea into the gaping mouth of the gigantic human-like beast. The storm stopped raging and the sea became calm. The sacrifice had done the trick. Senchai set sail wifeless. He had no Wi-Fi. In 1971, a fishing vessel, the 28th Kanpiri Maru, was sailing through the coast of Ongawa when a dark, huge shape was seen under the surface of the ocean. It began to follow the ship. The creepy Hamibosu rose from the deep and began to attack the ship. The crew were scared as they gazed upon its gray, wrinkled face with its collapsed nose. It appeared to have no mouth. They fought it off with harpoons. It went beneath the surface and let the fishing crew be. They reported it and it was recorded and documented. Maybe you could say it was a whale or some other ocean dweller. But all the witnesses described it in detail. Surely they can't all be mistaken in seeing its distinctive, scary features. Have you ever traveled across the sea and wondered what is lurking beneath you? Have you ever seen a huge dark shape in the ocean and felt the hairs on your neck stand up as you sense it's something unnatural? Could the Hamibosu be beneath waiting to attack? Beware the Hamibosu.
Did you lock your door? Sleep tight.